So Billy Ray Turner was finally found guilty, right? In his involvement in the murder of Lorenzen Wright. The murder that took place in 2010, he was finally found guilty. When I think about 7 years is a long time, right? 7 years, right? Cheryl Wright and all the rest, right? Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as the ID Go app. You might want to get those two things, combine them, make them into one. And I'm a Discovery influencer. That's indeed a fact. So a man by the name of Billy Ray Turner was found guilty for his involvement in murder of Lorenzen Wright back in 2010. Billy Ray Turner, being from Tennessee, he was found guilty of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy for the death of Lorenzen Wright. After his death in 2010, Lorenzen's decomposing body was found in a field, more like a swampy field, outside of Memphis. It was an NBA player. Who leaves somebody decomposing in a swampy field? An NBA player in a swampy field, right? That's not saying anybody's above death. How some people, I know sometimes people practice different things or different religions and feel, well, some people, whatever, nobody's above death, but just the way that he was killed and how he was left. An NBA player, right? What killed Lorenzen is he was shot twice in the head, twice in the chest, and shot 11 times in his body. There's a lot going on. Let me say it again. It was shot twice in the head, twice in the chest, and shot 11 times in his body. Whatever, when the guns ring out, right? Whatever area, if the head was the first location to be shot and killed, right? That's to kill somebody instantly, right? To ever be shot in the chest is enough to kill somebody instantly. But then you're going to shoot 11 more times into his body. Love, was there love there? Because to ask about the question that both pertaining to a love interest, right? Miss Wright, Cheryl Wright, right? So, July 2019, Lorenzen's ex-wife pleaded guilty for her involvement in Lorenzen's murder. That's why I just questioned that, being shot as many times as he was shot, right? The court gave her 30 years in prison and... wait a minute. To be shot twice in the head, right? 30 years in prison. She pleaded guilty in 2019 for her involvement in Lorenzen's murder, right? The court gave her 30 years in prison. And her first parole hearing is scheduled for May 11th, 2022, right? Billy Ray Turner was sentenced to life in prison. Sentenced to life, but 30 years for her. What's the age on that woman, right? 30 years, because to know Billy Ray Turner, right, the whole luring process of how the individual was killed, right, Lorenzen, how he was killed, the luring process, the love interest involved, the woman, how she received 30 years, but Billy Ray Turner, right, received life in prison. How come she didn't receive just as many years, right? She was just as involved as Billy Ray Turner. Cheryl Wright, right? He receives life in prison. She gets 30 years. That's just about life, but why not just say a life sentence like him, right? Then the parole aspect, I mentioned that, right? First parole hearing for her is scheduled for May 11th, 2022. Because the woman was involved just as much as Billy Ray Turner. That's what I don't understand, right? Prosecutors believe Billy Ray Turner was Cheryl Wright's love interest. She didn't receive that life sentence. He did. They both should receive life sentences. Life sentence, right? 30 years is a long time when you calculate, but just as I said before, let's just call it for what it is. Just say life sentence, right? Some people don't die in old age, right? Some people don't. That's how Oprah gonna be dying at 150 years old, like they used to do back in biblical times, right? Same for this lady. How long is she gonna live? The woman that was involved with Lorenzen's murder, right? Prosecutors believe Billy Ray Turner was Shara Wright's love interest, the woman involved with Lorenzen's murder, right? That was when she lured her ex-husband, Lorenzen, into a field where he was then shot multiple times and killed. Her involvement. To be that much involved in luring somebody would be to serve more time, right? That was your husband or ex-husband, right? The ex-wife lied, telling authorities her husband left her place of residence with an unknown male and supposed drugs in possession and money. She said he was going to flip for 110,000, right? He was going to flip something for 110,000, right? Once again, that was a lie. There was a lure involved that involved her, right? Billy Ray Turner and Shara Wright, the two individuals who were murdered. Not murdered, I'm sorry. Let me see how I paused. I stalled. They murdered. They were not murdered, right? I know his fans, how people get upset. The NBA player, right? Mr. Lorenzen, I'm sure they probably felt, well, the two individuals involved should have been murdered. How people's fans feel and stuff like that when their favorite person is murdered or something like that, right? I wonder what his fans in fact felt. I'm sure sadness and grief, right? But how I made that little mix-up mistake in my wording, right? Just a bit ago, right? When I said the two individuals who were murdered, when I was supposed to say they murdered Lorenzen, right? What does Lorenzen's fans feel about the two people that murdered him? The grief that they feel and the sadness. But some fans do sometimes ask, well, why weren't they murdered? Why did they have to murder him? Why weren't they murdered? Some fans get so mad, they be like, well, they should be executed. Stuff like that, right? But once again, Billy Ray Turner and Shara Wright, right? The two individuals who were murdered, who murdered him. I keep saying that. Probably because my mind almost wants to say execution instead of them serving 30 years in prison or life sentence. He was an NBA player, right? Sure, that man didn't do no harm, NBA player, but my mind keeps wanting to go in that direction of execution, right? Smart people think that way, right? People be against with me saying stuff like that, but that's what some people would question or analyze or ask. Should they be executed? What wrong did Lorenzen do to the two individuals that lured him and killed him? Some people get executed for that sort of thing. Not the old-fashioned way, the new age style, right? What did he do that was so wrong? Because I know the love interest aspect was there is why he got killed, right? Some people would question that. That capital punishment, that was the term that people, the olden days, capital punishment, execution, all the rest, right? NBA started, didn't do nothing wrong to anyone, right? But those two individuals, Billy Ray Turner and Shara Wright, right? They weren't arrested until 7 years after his murder. I mentioned that 7 years. I mentioned that in my opening. They weren't arrested until 7 years after his murder, right? And then you have Jimmy Martin, another individual somewhat involved, right? Jimmy Martin describes himself as a co-conspirator in the murder, right? And he said he helped Billy Ray Turner rid the weapon, but he wasn't present when the murder took place. He describes himself as a co-conspirator in the murder, right? Said he helped Billy Ray Turner, the killer, rid the weapon, right? But he wasn't present during the murder. You must be trying to get his 5 minutes of fame or something, right? Because to say that you helped in something, but you wasn't present, though, so he wouldn't serve time, all like that, right? Could be why he mentioned that sort of thing. Or something, right? Co-conspirator. Why would somebody say why would they call themselves a co-conspirator, right? Say they help somebody rid a weapon, and then turn around and also say, well, I wasn't there as the murder took place. Usually that keeps you out of jail or something like that, right? something more to even that co-conspirator story. So we're on investigationdiscovery.com. The ID logo stands in the far left corner. Co-conspirator. Where's his life sentence? Co-conspirator. I was trying to figure out what all co-conspirator, what all Jimmy Martin, what all was his involvement? What all did he do? Right. When it comes to murder and all the rest. So I'm asking. That's what I'm thinking as I pause. So dear viewers, let me know what you think and feel about this video. May you enjoy your day. I will in fact enjoy mine, and I'm gone for now. 1.